Bonjour, kia ora, welcome into this To the Fat hors d'oeuvres edition as we continue our look at the track and field Paris 24. Special emphasis, of course, on the Kiwi team, but all of the main gold medal action as well, and it has been outstanding. Mark Rosanowski, I'll only dream of going to the Olympics and as a spectator. This man's been 40 years ago. Tony Rogers. Tony, much to catch up on, but from a Kiwi perspective, last night we were on the edge of our seats because Hamish Kerr had us guessing. At 2 metres 20, he was on the cusp of going out. Now, if people got up this morning and saw 2:27 top qualifier in his group, there was way more drama than that suggested.
Yeah, there was plenty of drama in the high jump, wasn't there? Especially around the current Olympic champions, as they still are for one more day as well. Tamberi and Bashim both having their problems. And gosh, yeah, Hamish. Sometimes it can be just a mental thing, that height when you know you should be clearing things easy. I mean, he looked good at his first 2:15, which was good to see him do that and put one in the bag. But yeah, then we were really nervous as he attempted his third at 2:20, and it sort of snuck up on us quicker than you expect too, which was well, and for him as well, I think. And he was so relieved to get over that, and then obviously relaxed a bit more.
Yeah, indeed. So he was over 2:27 first time, which made a statement. 2:15, as Tony said, looked really good, but 2:20 a miss. Then an absolute miss, which looked like a complete mental block, but over on the third attempt. Tony says he's not really liking qualifying, and I can imagine actually with the vertical jumps, having watched pole vault and high jump in the last 24, 48 hours, that actually qualifying in those events might actually be harder than some of the others in terms of the waiting round, and it even gets tactical at the qualifying stage.
It's definitely the waiting round plays a big part to it, and of course, for these events, sometimes like the high jump, and the pole vault, you've got Group A and Group B running parallel with each other as well, and you're probably maybe subconsciously got a bit of a focus going what's going on in the other group, and that can distract you. And of course, it was interesting to read something that Hamish had spoke to one of the reporters about online in the last sort of 24, 48 hours about if he's used a toilet technique to go and where you have to go with an official to the toilet if you want to take a toilet break when you're out in that arena for which several hours or more, and you're obviously always hydrating to help himself refocus. So didn't see him go off to the toilet yesterday, but that's an interesting thing, because it is about staying in that moment and staying focused for those vertical jumpers, like all the jumpers, to be fair. And I mean, we watched the triple jump as well, and they've got the same problems as well, trying to keep track of where they are in the pool. And the javelin throwers, they have an advantage. Some of the long throws that they are usually only doing one of the long throws at a time, and they know where the Group A and Group B stack up if you come back in Group B, that's for sure.
Look, the main thing is, Tony, he's there, obviously. He's in the final. He's in the final 12. It's Sunday morning, 10 past 5. Tamberi clearly isn't 100% at the moment, and Bashim appeared to have a calf injury. Now, I know there are other jumpers like Wu, and there's a couple of others. Harrison's gone. So, Tony, it is there for Hamish if he can produce on the day. This is a field that he can handle.
Yeah, there's no one in there that he's afraid of. I'm sure. That's the greatest thing. He'll have a great deal of confidence. He's had a great sort of Diamond League European build up, and let's just hope he can bring that A game, so to speak, and that mindset that makes him stay in the moment the whole way, focusing on what's coming next, not get ahead of himself. And he should be able to get well into the 2:30 marks, depending on the progressions, of course. And if he's smart, which we've seen the tactics of passing at the right time and clearing first up and things like that, you can get yourself in a great position early on to keep a bit of pressure off for the medal hunt.
Okay, 10 past 5, Sunday morning. Hamish Kerr will jump for gold in the high jump. He was one of our Chew the Fat podcasters. So were a couple of others that were in action last night, Tony. Not the same success, unfortunately. Tori Peters unable to produce her best in the javelin and falling short of qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see her come back with her best throw of the three series in the last round. But yeah, at 59 and some change, she's still about a metre or a couple of metres from her best. And if she'd thrown up to her season's best, she would have got through. But she came up to be 8th in the pool. Gave us all a bit of a wait to see, but we all knew that there would be more than probably a good 4 that had come from the other pool, which there was, and so she ended up 19th overall.
James Preston, another who's appeared on Chew the Fat and the Wellington Male Athlete of the Year as well, in the 800. And look, ultimately he's come home in 148, Tony, and just looked a little flat over the concluding stages. And I can't remember the last time James would have finished a race in 148.
Yeah, that's he definitely didn't run one like that this summer, that's for sure, or this build up. Um, Very difficult to say what was happening from afar, but it wasn't a fast early pace. And the first thing that sort of struck me is that we know James is used to running near the front or from the front in some pretty clean run races, and he doesn't probably have a lot of races where he's in amongst the traffic, so to speak. And he didn't look like he was handling that well, but post-match post-event we heard that maybe things haven't been as good as he would have liked in the build-up. Not sure what's been happening there, but yeah, let's hope he can pull it together. He's been out on the stage once. He's got the repecharges tonight to have a second chance, so to speak.
So 10 o'clock tonight for James Preston in the repechage there. If we're looking bleary-eyed today, very good reason. 4:15 the pole vault got underway, and I woke up at 3:45, Tony, and that's a very awkward situation as to whether, you can't really sort of grab another 15 minutes. So I just got up and went with it and saw some track cycling before the pole vault. Anyway, our three Kiwis were there. Eliza McCartney wound up in sixth spot, went very close to clearing 480, but was unable to, so 470 her best. Olivia McTaggart went out at 470, so she cleared 460. Also clearing 460, Imogen Eris, that was a personal best by 3 centimetres, Tony, and I thought that was a thrilling moment, to be frank, because to see somebody on the biggest stage of all produce a PB, that's been a rarity in this track and field program for the Kiwis.
Yeah, it definitely has. It was a top moment, and for Imogen, which is fantastic to see her do that in that big stage. I think she even surprised herself a little bit. But that was the benefit of that, getting the 3 Kiwis all through. Obviously, Eliza was going to go through anyway for the final, but having that extra number of athletes qualify because of the countback situation. So she got that opportunity and she seized it, which was fantastic to see. And that'll give her massive confidence going forward, having cleared 460 in that arena. And yeah, and she's the youngest of the 3 as well out of our Kiwis. So that's promising for New Zealand athletics.
Indeed. And Eliza, Tony, it's like she's nearly there and not quite. Obviously, the World Indoors was the highest she'd gone this year, I think, and she's very, very close again to the very top echelon at the moment.
Yeah, she had, I think it was her second attempt at 480. It was very close, and she made a slight adjustment to the uprights with the coach, I think, for the final attempt, and almost there, but not quite. And it's great to see Eliza. I mean, she's for her, she's really happy to be back out there. I'm sure of that. That's the most important thing. And for her to at least be in the 470, 480, attempting 480 in the Olympics, she ended up being 6th equal because there was a number of them there, all equal on count back. She was 5th there at one stage for a little while. But yeah, I'm sure she's pleased, and hopefully she's going to come out unscathed with injury to go forward.
And while that was going on, and it went for sort of 3.5 to 4 hours, Nina Kennedy won it for Australia, and the Australians had a great morning. We'll probably talk more about their team. But Ethan Olivier, at the age of 19, stepped out, obviously, at his first Olympics in the triple jump. 16:16 was his best in a qualification series where his best would have had him through, but clearly the conditions perhaps weren't all that ideal. I'm not sure, but he did miss the board by quite a mark in his 3 jumps, Tony. Clearly a situation you would think where we can say with some confidence that this will be good for him looking ahead to the future, because he has a big one. It could be 10 or 12 years.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, and yeah, he got out his best jump first, which is a good sign for a young athlete in that competitive environment, and he got his best jump on the board as well. I think his second attempt he was something like 40 centimetres behind, and that looked a reasonable jump, and it would have put him even further up. So it's just about adjusting that. I'm not sure I didn't really go too deep into the wind readings and things, what was happening there, but yeah, once again, it's a busy area down there with 2 long jumps going at the same time, 32 athletes, a lot of coaches hanging over the fence, and it was good to see his dad and mum there chatting with him and giving them feedback, and hopefully that sets him up nicely for another about 3 weeks time. He'll be off in Lima in Peru for the World Juniors, where we hope he can build on that experience that he's had in Paris.
Yes, certainly. And he was fourth at the last World Under-20 Championships. Right, you sent me a note that said thrills and spills, Tony, and there's been plenty of those. The 3,000 metre steeplechase this morning, unfortunately, Geordie Beamish didn't make it through, but we did see Al Bakali defend his title, but in a race not without drama, especially his second favourite, Gurma, had a terrible fall.
Yeah, they were looking like having a great battle about 230 metres out until Germa hit that last hurdle, or was actually the third to last barrier, to be fair. But yeah, he moved himself to get a better line. Whether he got a little bit of a push in the back, I'm not sure, but he didn't get high enough, and he clipped his knee on it by the look of it, and came a pretty nasty fall for steeplechasers of that calibre, which is a shame because, man, the move was on, and it was going to be a great spectacle for the best. I mean, Germa, who's been the bridesmaid so often, misses once again, but great to see the Olympic champion repeat, and fantastic to see the American there, take the race by the scruff of the neck and have a crack, and he secured himself that silver medal, I think, in the finish, wasn't it? So by that bold move from Kibawat from Kenya.
Yeah. So Rook's into second and continuing a really good track program, particularly in the middle distance events there for the Americans. And while we're talking about carnage, 5,000 metre heats last night. I lost count of the falls, and one was quite dramatic that involved several people, and one very good tumble, shall we say, that would have earned good marks in the gymnastics during the week, Tony. And of course, we saw Ingebrigtsen come back only hours after the disappointment of the 1,500. So there's a lot to unpack in those 5,000 metre heats.
Certainly was, and the thing about the 5,000s, Mark, is people realise that there was people coming back from the 10,000, and there was people coming up from the 1,500s, and obviously the 1,500 guys only had a day to turn around if they made the final. And yeah, good to see Ingebrigtsen take his heat out. He was cautious early. I couldn't believe that after what the second heat saw happen in the first heat, that they still had similar trouble and ran the race at a similar pace. But that's maybe the problem. I think they'll question the logic of having just two heats with around about 20 odd athletes in a heat, all of that calibre. They're all looking for space, and they all can back themselves to be in the top 8 with their sprint finishes. But it's just a matter of who gets lucky and who's in the right place at the right time. And yeah, that was disaster in the first heat. I've rewatched it several times and still trying to figure out exactly what happened there. And then I read that some of them have been reinstated, and it wasn't the one that I thought should be reinstated. That's for sure. I think it was Mills, was one of them. But yeah, some real gymnastics on the home straight, which was a spectacle. I don't think I've ever seen any race, let alone at Olympic level.
Yeah, no, truly remarkable. Finals this morning on the track, 400 metres. Thought the Brit Hudson Smith was home. I'm sure he felt that he probably was too, Tony, but Quincy Hall, the American, just picked himself up. He looked spent. He came through and won near the line.
Yeah, he did, and it reminded me a lot of the way he ran. Even when he was 150 out, he looked like he was really struggling to stay with the pace, but he just kept going, and his arms and legs were flailing. And he reminds me a lot of my cousin Chris Rogers, who we used to nickname Spider, who was a 400, 800 metre runner. And but he just had such speed. But obviously, he was slowing down the least compared to everyone else. But as you say, the times were amazing. 43 and Olympic, or not quite Olympic record, but national records and area records, pretty well all round. But yeah, for Hudson Smith, he'll be disappointed, but he's a bit like Kerr yesterday. He'll come away with the bonus of a national record, but it's probably not what he really wanted in that final.
No, exactly. Now, the discus was going on while Nina Kennedy was eventually winning that pole vault. And in the discus, we did see an Olympic record, and from a Jamaican, remarkably, 70 metres came through and beat Alekna, a Jamaican by the name of Ray Stoner, with a 3 centimetre victory. So drama on the track for sure, but you can have drama in the field events too, and we certainly had that this morning.
Yeah, well, Alekna, he wasn't able to repeat what his father had done a couple of times and come through, even though he set an Olympic record and then had it surpassed by 3 centimetres by Stoner of Jamaica. Yeah, fantastic performance. He looked a pretty calm young guy, and we saw that he's got some pretty accomplished people in his camp by the look of it when he was going across to one of his coaches there. It looks like it's Ryan Krause out of the US. So yeah, fantastic performance. these field events give us drama every time, Mark, and I love watching them to see where people come from. And the other thing that just might chip in here is that in the Diamond Leagues, they don't have that reverse order all the way through. On the last round, they make the final three competitors with the first person going first, and then given the opportunity for second and third to come through. But in the way it works at the moment in the major championships, it's still the person leading into the last three rounds goes last. But yeah, great performance by Stoner, and one that was a surprise for almost everybody, I'm sure.
And Tony, we better give an honourable mention to Matthew Denny, because you've had him out here at the Capital Classic, and he's finished third, bronze medal, to complete a really good day for the Australian track and field team.
Yeah, the Australians picked up a bronze in the mixed relay marathon walk early in the day, and so that's with the gold medal in the pole vault with Nina Kennedy, and then Matt Denny also throwing 69 metres, plus coming in third there, and he was looking in good shape for silver early on as well. But yeah, really good and great to see him just continuing to improve at these major championships.
And Tony, only two Kiwi athletes we haven't seen so far. Camille French in the marathon, she'll be the final day Sunday morning. But Maddie Weshi tonight in the shot put qualification, 8:25 p.m. she gets underway. And frankly, Tony, she has been able to produce every time she's been sent out at a big meeting, and we would expect her to make the final 12.
Yeah, we'll definitely be disappointed if she doesn't make the final 12. And yeah, she's on her personal best at the moment. It's 1981 for the shot put, which she's improved gradually throughout the last year. She's had a couple of PBs, and this 5 throwers out going into the arena that are 20 metre plus throwers, but none of them are out of reach. And I'm sure she'll be targeting that 20 metres, but first and foremost, to get into the final and then hopefully have a shot at some silverware, because she's capable of it. She's performed at world junior level. She's been to a number of major championships now and finishing in the top 8. So we'd hope to see her really contesting those medals later in the program.
Tony, assuming that her build-up has been okay, and clearly for some of the athletes it hasn't worked out as they would have planned going into Paris 24, but I think $6.80 for Maddie to win a medal is actually okay shopping there with the New Zealand TAB R18. Bet responsibly, but that's the current market there for Maddie to win a medal. She gets through qualification tonight. We assume 8:25 will be watching anyway. And then tomorrow morning, one of the success stories of the track and field team, Tony, Maya Ramsden in the semi-final, 5:35 a.m. Clearly it's going to be very difficult for her, but she ran outstandingly well in the heat, just missed her own national record. You know what it's like to back up at an event like this. How do you think Maya will go backing up, and is she a chance, even if she doesn't qualify, to maybe shave a wee bit off her own national record?
Well, I definitely think she can do the latter, and that's if the races run true and shave some more off the national record after what we saw in the heats. She's in there again with her idol, as she told us, Faith Kipyagan in Heat 1, so the pace should be fairly true, because I don't think Kipyagan wants any things to go amiss for her to make sure she qualifies for the final. So yeah, let's hope she can get out a great performance to get in the top 6 and then get that automatic, which it is, straight into the final. Is going to be a big achievement for her, and Kiwis should just hope that she has a great race and represents us in that 1500 metre as proud as she is, and let's hope she can get possibly a national record, which would be a personal best for her.
And Tony, as we wrap our hors d'oeuvre, I think it's the longest hors d'oeuvre we've had, but there's been so much Kiwi action in particular. But looking to tomorrow's session, where we've got the women's long jump final, the men's javelin, which looks an absolute ripper, the 200 metre men's final. We've got obviously the heptathlon going on, the 400 metre hurdles for women, and Grant Holloway and co in the 110 metre hurdles for men. Can you possibly choose a potential highlight out of them?
Pretty hard, isn't it? But I guess the Americans will be looking for the Noah Lyles double, that's for sure. I'm personally looking forward to the 400 metre hurdles clash. I think that's a great clash between Cindy McLaughlin and Femke Bol, and let's hope they don't take their eye off the boil and think about the other competitors in there. The French girl's going to get cheered all the way home, and the Jamaican lady, she's a strong chance to pick up a medal as well. But yeah, looking forward to the 400 hurdles. It can create some drama too.
Yep, I'm hoping that Tobago can get me home in the 200. He didn't quite in the 100, but gee, look good in the semi-finals. But that will be some clash. So much to look forward to in the next 24 hours. That has been Chew the Fat Hors d'oeuvres. We'll catch you again tomorrow.